What it do?
Back again.
We back.
Feeling good.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
So hopefully, we dropping some gems and some nuggets that people find valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about sharing this information, sharing our stories, our perspectives.
Yeah.
Speaking of sharing stories and perspectives, we all going through this weird, transition, I guess, or climate in business or in the world in general. And I just wanted to really see how you guys are dealing with, the art of the pivot, how you guys are generating income.
I like that.
During this, shutdown. We're not necessarily in a shutdown anymore, but, the world still isn't back to the norm that we was used to.
Right.
So can y'all share or speak to any creative ways that you've been, I know Mo, you've been doing well in business. Nikki, you've been busy. All of us have been thinking outside the box and creating new, just innovative ways to generate this income, and I think sharing, hopefully somebody out there will get some ideas or be inspired to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you guys been pivoting and, making this situation work for you, getting the best out of it?
Ladies first.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you making prints of an original piece of artwork has been really good to me. Especially when I can't create a lot of original pieces to sell.
Right.
And thankfully, I have one original piece left in my inventory, so I have to get to work.
Wow.
But prints on my website have been doing really good.
That's dope.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
so
That's
that
good to
is
know.
definitely one way. I encourage artists to definitely produce prints of original pieces.
Big advocate for prints.
Yeah.
Get into those prints.
I'm telling you. And I've been doing canvas prints because a lot of people have been coming to me, when I used to do prints on Gleesy. And essentially, that's just a form of, or a type of printing. But people would come to me and say, oh gosh, how do I frame this? A lot of people just don't have the knowledge of framing and what border to use, what type of, what should they do to make the piece whole. So what I've been doing to help them is that I have been producing what is called a canvas print. So the print is produced on a canvas, it's ready to hang as soon as the customer gets their piece. So they don't have to do anything but take it out of the packaging and hang it. So that's been very popular. I'm not a fan of novelty type stuff, but my mask, I have printed my artwork on mask, and I know the masks are bigger right now, of course, because everyone's wearing them.
I didn't know.
And so those,
That's fly.
That's crazy.
So most of my popular pieces, I put them on mask, and I have a company that prints them out on a mask, and I've been doing that. So while I'm asleep, I'll hear ding, 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 and I'm like, okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I've been doing.
Okay.
Dope.
Oh.
So pandemic. You said during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, before the pandemic, it was like one of my busiest times of the year. Like it was just crazy. And I wasn't even all the way music then. I was still like in video, but I had like a lot of high profile clients and it was crazy. So I was already up to my neck. It was good, but then it was like on my creative side, it was bad because music is really my heart. Video was a way to get money at the time, you know what I mean? And then I just kind of like went down a rabbit hole of video. But what the pandemic actually did for me was one, it made me get my mind and my spirit clear because all the video things just stopped, you know what I mean? All the clients, they blacked out everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. Now I can really focus on my heart and my love and my joy.
Right.
So doing that and just going about it in the spirit that I went about it in, it just started to attract this following and the ideas, and for me to like put together that project that I was telling you about. And I just locked in and I just started to focus on that. But I also was doing like a lot of research. It gave me a lot of time to look into my craft more, but also look into marketing also look into more, you know, business skills, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But marketing was my major thing because it was like, all right, this is a good time to get my marketing up to see where everything going. But then I started to realize like ads is like the number one thing right now. Ads. Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, even now TikTok ads.
Yeah.
Ads is the number one thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. I had a good 2019. I got some money to play around with to try out the ad situation.
Right.
So I developed products. I developed products called loop packs. You might have people, a lot of in the producer community right now, you could sell beats or you could sell packs for up and coming producers to make beats. And I was like, all right, I'm making a sale here and there, but let me just sell stuff to producers.
Right.
So I put together these loop packs, and my
Nice.
first loop pack just went crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I used ads to make it go crazy.
Right.
And once I started to see like, okay, this is pretty sweet.
Yes, sir.
And the worst that was happening was I was making my money back, but I was also gathering data. You know what I'm saying?
That's big.
And
That's
it was
smart.
great emails and all of that. So I was
That's
like,
smart.
damn, all right, I put 5,000 in, I make this back. I'm like, wow, okay, and I got all this.
Yeah.
It was foolproof to me. It was like ads is the way to go.
Right.
So that's one tip. Ads are the way to go. Like a lot of people don't think it worked.
Right.
Are you into targeting? Are they targeting ads or how?
Yeah, this is talking. I hired somebody to do it. I didn't do it myself.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the things that I've learned too. Is like over the course of time, I don't have time to figure this out.
Know what to outsource.
And I don't, knowing to outsource, and I don't want to figure it out.
Right.
I want somebody to tell me what's what, but then let me know about it, and then let me go research that to let me know if you're telling me the truth.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So that's kind of like the approach I take now with everything, and that was a big approach. So I always implement ads in anything I'm doing, even my next events, all of that, because I see that it's foolproof.
Right.
But a lot of people was just like me. I was kind of like, this ain't probably not even gonna work.
Yeah.
Right.
But then I was like, man, let me just play around with it. And I was like, damn, okay. So boom. So
Damn. Okay.
yeah, you feel me? So
Get
ads,
to that bag.
the ads was cranking, and then I started developing loop packs. And then, you know, I was just locked in every two days out the week. Me and my homie Scoon, we just go in and we cook. And then that's just started to gather up the following to where now I had a good company, Lander. Shout out to Lander. They reached out. They're like one of the leading mastering companies in music right now. So they reached out, and we got like a partnership now. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of great things coming. And the project that I'm actually working on, that's all of this is being documented for, hasn't even dropped yet. So as y'all watching the process of it, you haven't even watched it yet.
I'm excited.
So it's like
I'm salivating, man. I'm waiting for it to come out.
it's real good. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. But the tips to take away from that is ads. Run ads. Try it. If you wanna spend some serious money on the ads,
Right.
get an ad manager and have them run it for you.
Right.
And then collect your data, because data also is everything.
Everything.
It all falls into the universe we was talking about, the digital universe.
Yeah.
All of that's part of the same thing.
Absolutely.
So ads and understanding your target market, and you know just learning more about your business etiquette and like marketing, because marketing is everything.
It is.
So that's kind of like
That's
what
great
I'm focusing
info.
on. Yeah.
Great.
So, yeah, so man, I like that, Moon. You know, it's important. You know, one of the things that I think I benefited the most from was just really taking time to build my community. You know, I was really in pre-pandemic. I was in survival mode, and I was just staying busy, almost for the sake of staying busy. You know, because I didn't want to fall behind in business. I wanted to keep the brand afloat, keep my name present, stay kind of relevant. But during this period or this time, I was able to just really focus on, you know, like you said, I was learning about ads and targeted ads, and I created my Facebook groups and just really started to focus on connectivity in my community, because what I learned in one of my online trainings that I took during this time is the real power, like you said, is owning your data, right? And I'll give a quick example that I learned. You know, Ticketmaster is, you know, that's a brilliant engine that they've created, right? Because when you look at a concert, Beyonce is the talent, right? And she is the draw. But the person or the entity that really has the leverage and the power in that whole situation It's Ticketmaster. Because Ticketmaster owns your email.
Exactly.
Beyonce doesn't.
Right.
So she's only getting that one-time interaction with you when she comes into your city and she does that concert. But every concert that comes into the city, every event, every opportunity that they have to get exposure to you or sell you something, they have it.
Exactly.
Right? And so I learned that, these social media platforms are cool, but you got to develop your own community and start developing your own platform. Because the other piece of that is, if you say something that they don't like, which we would probably never fall in that category, but if for whatever reason, let's say you go against their guidelines and they decide to ban you, right? You lose that control and leverage over your audience.
Facts.
Or on the other side of it, let's say you've been hustling, you've been working to create this audience of 200,000 followers, and your account gets hacked, and you have to jump back in, and now you're at like 4,000 or 5,000 or whatever you're at. You've lost. You got to work to generate all of that audience again, starting from scratch. And if you take the time to create these funnels, these marketing strategies where you're getting the email address, you're establishing these relationships, and you own your customers. That's the true currency in businesses, having direct access and ownership over your customers. And so I started really learning the science behind all of that. And I started like creating my marketing funnels where I was capturing the emails. And so all of my events, exhibitions and everything that I do, I have hundreds and thousands of people now that I can reach out to directly, that I own the email addresses. I'm communicating with them. I'm sending them newsletters. I'm cultivating the audience, and it's me. So if Instagram goes away tomorrow, or there's some new thing like TikTok is the thing now, but there's always a new social media platform.
Yeah.
Something new comes out, or if it goes away, I still have access to my audience. And so that's what I've really been spending time on, and I think that's what I found the most benefit from during this time.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Same thing with me. I think that was the epiphany for me, what you talked about. Diving in, I'm a big Seth Godin fan, if you guys are familiar with Seth Godin. There's a podcast I love called Akimbo, and he talks about marketing from a different perspective. He talks about something that we talk about all the time, is finding your 1,000 true fans. We have this belief because of social media, you need 200,000, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers to create a substantial enough income for you to be able to live off of. So I think that was an epiphany for me, understanding that Instagram, Facebook, they're all simply distribution channels for people like us.
Facts.
Right? And if you don't control your distribution, you can't control your income. So that was an epiphany for me that I really started digging in on. Created my own Facebook group for entrepreneurs, people that are of like mind that I want to be able to tap into, to learn from, and also, create situations and environments where we can thrive and share and have conversations just like this. So that was the epiphany for me that I focused on. But I recently connected with a young lady, I consider her my mentor, and she's been showing me the back door, or the behind the curtains, if you will, to the marketing side. There's things going on that I couldn't have fathomed that you would be able to do by yourself, right? Granted, like you do, at some point, because I want to outsource these things as well, because we don't have that much time as I build my brand, but the things that you can do behind the curtain by yourself, it takes a machine to do it, but it's phenomenal what you can do out here to generate income for yourself.
I can imagine, for sure.
Unbelievable the stuff she's telling me, man. That I'll share with you guys in a later episode.
Fact.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to say was, I also started to focus on passive income, because it's like getting those channels situated.
Yes, sir.
Like when you run into another, like when they shut everything down again, you still got ways. That's just streaming is heavy.
Yeah.
Streaming is big. That's one of the passive incomes that's been climbing for me. Streaming. So like YouTube channels like this.
Yeah.
Like anything that can just while you sleep make you money. I've been really putting my mind on that.
So you talked about YouTube. There's a certain amount of subscribers you have to have, and a certain amount of, I think you said watched video hours or something like that?
watch. Yeah, so it is, what is it? It's 4,000 watch hours, I think. Yeah, 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers
Before you begin.
before you begin getting monetized on YouTube.
Per video or all of the
Just period for the
content?
year.
Okay.
So like 1,000 subscribers period,
Mm-hmm.
and 4,000 watch hours for the year.
Gotcha.
So that's like 40, I'm bad with math, what's that, like 40 minutes?
I have no idea.
Average out over 1,000 people, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that also depends on how consistent you drop it too, though, because you could be dropping one video every month, and you know you ain't getting it.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
But one of the hacks to that is doing a live stream. You get all your watch hours one time, so if you're going live for like an hour straight,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That add to that.
Mm.
And that's what I recently found
That's
out.
deep.
So that's what people are doing now.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a little golden ticket.
Mm.
But YouTube, YouTube is the move.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that all of these platforms are starting to embrace, creating avenues for creatives to monetize
Yeah,
their
they're doing that
creativity.
well.
Yeah.
You know, Facebook, and you have all these other companies coming out like Patreon, and they're all focused on providing avenues for creatives to monetize their work. And I just think it's beautiful, because there's a lot of, distractions, there are a lot of influences that can try to prevent us from making
Absolutely.
making money, and then you have, pandemics and stuff like that creates challenges. But, we have coming up next, we have a old buddy of ours that we grew up with, Dave from Dappa Dave from the Dynasty Band.
From the Dynasty
He'll
Band,
be
the good
joining
Dappa
us.
Dave.
Dappa Dave.
He'll be joining us, and
My brother.
one of the things that I wanted to talk to him about is, the don't mute DC, go DC, and different things like that. But when you have powers at play trying to, control your income, control your business, we do have to be creative with, okay, well, if they're gonna close this door, how are we gonna still create income? How are we
Right.
gonna still, get out there? Like they shutting down, from what I understand, they've been shutting down for years now, venues in
Venues in
DC
DC.
for
The bands to be able to
bands
play.
to be able to play.
Yeah.
So, I think that, I don't know how much it applies to Go, because Go-Go is a live experience. But I think, like you said, having the opportunity to make money from streaming
Yeah.
and all these different creative ways you can make money online, I think that's the progression that Go-Go is ultimately going to go. And I'm looking forward to hearing, what Dave has to share on that. But we got to be creative, man. I think at the end of the day, we have to continue to think outside the box, be innovative, push the envelope,
Forward thinking.
Yeah.
forward thinking.
Yeah.
One of the things I always say to myself when I'm doing something, I'm like, how can I do this to where people will come to me and I don't gotta go to people? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Bring that thought process in, and it's like
Yeah.
people gonna come to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make them come to you.
That magnetism, man.
Yeah, it's
It's
like,
important. It's very important.
Facts.
And another tip I want to add is, for some people, they may need a mentor. I know you were talking about yours.
Absolutely.
Finding someone who can mentor you and provide you with information. I always love sitting in a room with people that know more than me.
Absolutely.
I'm going to
Yeah.
absorb that information
Mhm.
That's
and
how
I'm
you
going to run
grow.
away with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely how you evolve and that's how you
Yeah.
grow.
Do you have a mentor?
Yeah, I used to. Unfortunately, she passed away.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but since then, I have not found another one, but I'm always online. I'm always talking to people, to see what they're doing and to see how I can, incorporate that in what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely I would say don't be afraid to ask, and I'll get, DMs of people saying, hey, what paint do you use? This is my first mural. I don't know whether to use these small, expensive acrylics or do I use wall paint? So I also say don't be afraid to ask someone who, is putting that grind out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And seeing what it is that they're doing to see what
Yeah.
they can work for you. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's all types of mentors too on different levels for different reasons. Like you may not have, like you said, that person in your life anymore, but they're literary mentors. There's mentors that I have a lot of mentors that don't even know me because I follow their moves and I study and I analyze the things that are working for them and I adapt those. Years ago, I read this. I saw a video from Brian Tracy. He's kind of like a sales guru, or he's a trainer to sales to the sales industry. And he said success leaves clues, right? No one's out here really reinventing the wheel. We're all being influenced and inspired by something.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but find someone that is doing what you want to do already successfully and just model your behavior after them.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a lot of examples we can go through, to bring that home. But essentially, you put your own little spin and twist on it, but you can find someone else that's doing what you're doing already. And I think it's very important. I know some people kind of look down on mentorship. I don't need it. I think that's a lot of ego and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think, in order to grow, evolve, like you said, and to save time and money. My whole thing is always saving time and money and shorten that learning curve. Because if I don't have to go through all these pitfalls and make all these mistakes, by just having a conversation or following or opening a book,
Precisely.
I'm gonna do it.
Precisely.
I'm gonna do it because again, it's a little cliche, but time is money. I don't have a lot of time to waste, especially at this stage of my life. I'm trying to get to where I need to go to as fast as possible.
Right.
And I think that's dope. That's why once we get Dave on, I can't wait to hear his story and what he has to say, how he's navigated the go-go waters and transitioned with the advent of social media, because they used a lot of promotion guys in the city to get exposure to build their shows. So now they can essentially do it themselves. So I can't wait to hear Dave's story, man, and what he has to share with us.
Yes. Solid dude.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to it. Let's bring him up. Well, welcome, Dave. Thanks for joining the show.
What's going on, brother?
AG.
Dappa Dave.
Dappa Dave,
Dappa Dave.
man.
What's up,
Dappa
Dappa Dave?
Dave.
Rob, long time, my
Man,
guy.
my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we can catch up, man, and connect. We've been talking about a lot of things these last few episodes. Since we kicked the show off, we've been talking about passion and your purpose and, how to really, create extra income and generate revenue during this pandemic. So, I know share with us your background, for those who don't know, you're a musician, you've been in go-go for what?
Ages now.
30, 25 years?
We're going to leave it at 20.
We'll leave it at 20.
In the 20s.
I unfortunately, I think your band kind of, you guys kind of hit your stride when I was living in Atlanta, so I didn't get to see you live. But I follow, I've seen a lot of footage, and, I think you guys are dope. And I've heard a lot from, Rob and the guys from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But how'd you get your start in music and go-go and share a little bit of that with us?
Honestly, man, that's crazy because that goes back to when we were together.
High school.
That's like back in high school. I think one of the first things we did was one of the talent shows back in Franklin.
Right.
And that kind of kicked everything off. But back then everybody was beating on tape.
Yeah.
Everybody was in the classroom, and that was just our culture.
Yeah.
And so some of us just kind of like picked up on it.
Yeah.
Kind of took it to heart, and it's funny because a lot of the guys that we did grow with, Harvey Wright, really became musicians, and other guys, Derek Freeman, just guys that are out here really doing Derek Holmes.
Derek Holmes,
vibe and stuff. So it's like I said, it's been a journey for me, but it's really been my life.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, outside of that, I can't really remember a time when I wasn't involved with music.
Wow.
One way or the other, from my parents gave me, piano lessons at a young age too.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, just to, and of course, we all have, listen, and our parents got stuff playing.
Right.
But my parents were really into music. My mother and father were from Detroit, and lived originally before they moved to England.
Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
so it's been my mother was friends with Martha Wells and Smokey Robinson and all those guys.
Wow.
So that's just her background. I guess my knack was what we had here.
Right.
Was getting involved in that. And it was so funny because now it's like finally on the forefront.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people are starting to get noticed. Now other stars are wanting to come in and, you know, do go-go and do, and it's funny because I remember like, right, we were doing this on the tape.
Yeah.
You know, so, but that's where it started for me though, man. Like, you know, really back then, and you know, we started initially with a band called Total Recall.
I heard of Total
Recall.
We started with Total Recall. Shout out to the fellas from Total Recall.
Total Recall.
And that's where we got the roots from. That's like right coming out of high school, and we really kind of took off with that.
Right.
And then a lot of guys from Total Recall kind of branched off to their own things. Like
Of course.
I said, Derek had a vibe band, publicity band.
Yeah.
There was the other brothers in there, like once again, Derek Freeman. He has now 76 Degrees West, I think he is. He has a group that he does.
Right.
And then I evolved into Raw Roof to Dynasty Band.
Okay.
The Dynasty Band was the forefront of what we've been doing for the last 15 years.
Nice.
Hold on, so y'all grew up together? All y'all grew up together?
Yeah.
We went to high school
With the
together.
high school.
Okay.
together.
What high school was that?
Friendly.
We actually all graduated together.
Yeah.
That's
a story in itself, right?
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't want to tell too much.
Right.
But yeah,
Nah,
so
that's
it
funny.
involved Dynasty Band.
And you're the lead vocalist for it.
Yeah, lead vocal. It's kind of like the conductor, kind of like
Gotcha.
you know, your
The maestro.
Yeah, well,
Lead
you know,
mic.
well, you know, because you gotta have the whole band to do what you do. But
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna say where we gonna go and
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
wanna do.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
gonna feel the crowd. I'm gonna feel
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
And see what's best for us.
Yeah.
And it's an art, man. Can you just share I'm glad you touched on that. You know, so one of my close friends is a DJ Marvelous Richard. Shout out to Richard. But he's always sharing with us the science behind, like it's a lot of guys that can, you know, spin and scratch behind their back and push the buttons, but it's actually an art to move in the crowd.
That's
Right. He shared something I thought was so dope with us one time. He said, a good DJ can match the rhythm of the record to the heartbeat of the people in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And so as the guy that's controlling the band and the vibe in the room, like how important is it for you to know all those different
extreme.
moving parts?
Extremely. That's your job. I mean, and a lot of times your job is also to if they're not where you need to get them there. You know, I mean, just like the DJ.
Yeah.
If the DJ's on the see people on the dance floor and they're moving, but they put something on and they really get up and then he cuts it off and they kind of go down. Hey, you better get back to it.
Right.
You know, you got to feel the room and really know what's going on.
See, I say that because you find, I'm sure it's the same in go-go, but in at a party, you have some DJs. We've had this experience, right? You have, or just in general, you have people that just want to crank.
Yeah.
But there has to be a crescendo,
It
right?
has to lead. You know what I mean? Well, and that's what they call like, you know, you blow too quick. You know what I mean? I mean, people do that.
Right.
You know? I remember we were in a contest, man. This was interesting. It was down at the Howard Theater, and it was 10 bands. It was 10 different groups. And
Wow.
we actually won that contest too.
Oh,
Shout out to what's my man's name? Jose Williams. Shout out to Jose Williams.
Jose.
Yeah, for putting it on for us. But we actually won that, and but I was watching as I was watching the bands go through. Right, some bands would do that. They would come out and think that it's so important, and then they would also not understand the setting. You know, Howard Theater is a nice venue. Maybe you haven't played there before.
Yeah.
You might have really been excited. You might have came in there and just did too much trouble.
Right.
But you know, you have to, just like you guys say, watch, learn, and listen. Like I just sat and you know, not that I was going to do that anyway, but just to listen and say, well, wow, man, this is an opportunity. You know what I mean? And you got to kind of feel what's going on with the whole situation at the time. So you do want to kind of lead up. You don't want to kind of go in there, and you got to feel the crowd because maybe they may want to get to it. So you may got to drop one of those songs you were going to do and jump and skip over, you know, and go somewhere else and get to where they feel. But you'll feel it.
Right.
You'll see their reactions, just like when you meet somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you talk to somebody, you can see if it's genuine. You see if they don't want to be bothered. You can kind of tell. It's kind of like the same thing after you do it for a while.
That's cool. That's cool.
Wow.
So, in case you don't know, well, you just meet Mo, so you don't know. But
Yeah,
Mo,
but I was saying
Mo
over
is
there. He got some work to do.
Yeah, for sure.
He has a background in go-go. He's actually been with 3 bands, right?
Yeah, like high school, like around the same time.
Who's
Yeah.
band?
My first band was Killer Instinct. One band was called Blackout. And then the other band, I forgot the other band. The other band we just called the Black Liberty Band.
Black Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's
That's
up.
dope.
We had this one song called Telephone Love And that was kind of like our,
Main joint.
yeah, that was kind of like our main jump, man. And that, yeah, and I was the lead mic too. So the lead mic, man, is definitely power in that lead mic.
Man, for
But
sure.
you definitely got to know, call the right shots. You know what I'm saying?
Right shots,
Don't blow too soon.
Yeah,
blow too
don't blow too
The moral of the
soon.
story is
But in
don't
my
blow
band,
too
I
soon.
always had people like the rapper might have wanted to be the lead mic. So
Yeah.
have you ever had that type of friction?
Yeah.
You say,
Man, and you know it's funny, man, because it's funny that I mean we've all, you know, everybody has interference in the group.
Right.
Y'all saw the movie The Temptations. Y'all saw it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's not uncommon to anything. You know, we all
Right.
human.
Right.
And actually, like that, I went to one of those situations. One of my closest friends.
Man, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And don't get me wrong, that's my man to this day, man. But again, I think it's also we actually let's get real with this.
Yeah,
We
let's
actually
get
went
real.
to a situation to the point where the band split up.
Yeah, that's how I be. Yeah.
And the majority of the band went with him, and you know, some of the members stayed with me, and you know, again, I don't know what really transpired over there, but it didn't work out the way it was supposed to work out, and we ended up getting back together.
Okay, that's what's up.
I mean, at the end of the day, but I think things happen for a reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said again, I think that gave me clarity too, because I think I was holding back a lot within my power, what I could do.
Wow.
And you know, kind of catering to everybody around me, because as a leader, you know, I kind of feel responsible for that.
Yeah.
Of course.
But in some of these, I need to go with the gusto and do what's supposed to be done.
Right.
Take a lead, you know, ahead of that. And so that taught me a lesson in the same.
No, I'm glad you
aspect.
said that, because I fell in the same kind of like boat. And sometimes I still be doing that where, you know, you the leader in the situation,
Yeah.
but because you're real, you want to take everybody's consideration.
And
all.
it, bro,
But at the end of the day, you got to just go with the fuck you want, though, right?
Only, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But
That's
so,
powerful, though.
But that's so true, because how do you and I still deal with that at times today. How do you, as a leader, you know, you gotta respect the truth.
Yeah,
You gotta respect
yeah.
everything. And how do you not leave somebody out? You know, I would notice sometimes we may be doing a song and song sounds great, but
Right.
somebody may not really be giving it all. I'm noticing, well, is it because he doesn't have a plot? Is it because you got to think of all this?
Yeah,
It's a lot. You know, it's a lot of psychological.
It
thinking.
is,
Right,
man.
right,
It
right,
is.
different personality.
It is. Yeah, that's
But I
real.
mean, but I enjoy it. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's more good than bad. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And when it's like you were mentioning, man, just I was looking at you in another segment when you were talking about when you get back and you're able to just to hone in on what you love to do.
Yeah, that's
Like you can't beat that feeling.
You can.
You know what I
It's
mean?
one of the best feelings in the world.
I'm on my way to band practice after this. Like,
Right.
you can't beat that feeling. You know what I
Wow,
mean? So-
wow.
so, yeah.
That's when you know. I heard this interview with Eddie Murphy had this interview one time, and he was like, everybody always know what they want to do or what they supposed to do.
Yes.
It's just people don't listen to him.
They don't
That's
listen
true.
to it.
That's true. That's
He
true.
was like, he doesn't believe in a plan B, because I don't believe in a plan B.
Oh, I saw that.
I just believe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said that everybody really deeply knows what they
What
supposed to
wanna
be
do,
doing.
You got to try to chase it.
You got to.
If you get the opportunity, you have to try.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, and I feel, you know, honestly, I think about that. I think of like, you know, even being able to allowed to be able to do what I've even been able to do in the go-go, and, you know, just, you know, even be able to play. Like, people don't always get those opportunities.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And speaking of that, not to cut you off, when did you know? Because I knew, and I've seen your evolution, right? I knew Dave in high school, and not looking down, but I didn't see it because
Right.
of course I didn't see the practices, and I
Right,
didn't
right,
see
right,
your
right.
work prior to seeing you on stage. So
Yeah.
at what point for you did you realize as the lead mic or lead talker that you can do this thing and command the audience like you knew you could?
You know what's funny, Rob? It's crazy you say that because you said you didn't see it. Me neither.
Wow.
Because back then it was for fun.
Right.
It was for, you know, hey man, let's go. Girls gonna be there tomorrow. It was like, it was crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
for fun.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you what happened, man. We were playing at the Legend nightclub. This is shout out to my man Jamal Wilson, former manager of the band.
Wow.
And he said something to me that just struck me, and I had to think about this. And this is like, it takes me to like what you do, what anybody does, right?
Right.
And he came to me. We was at the Legend. It was packed. We was playing with EU, and he said, "Hey man, you know why everybody's here?" And I was like, "You're the go-go." Like,
Right.
it's Friday, we're about to party, you know. And he was like, "No. Like, why is everybody here? Like, why is everybody here now?" I was like, "Why?" And he basically was saying because they can't do what you about to do. And I was like, well, you know, for the exception of people that do that, but I was like, I didn't realize what he was saying. Then I thought about it, like, yeah, like, right. Like, if it was just that easy to get the band together, get these guys, to pull these guys together, make this beat, why wouldn't somebody else do it? I would, if I could just paint like this, if I could do art like you guys, I would do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I had that talent. So, but you don't always recognize that it's that big of a talent, or is that it's worth, you know, the recognition of yourself. So he kind of helped me see, like, Dave, and it's natural to me. I just talk to you like I would talk to, what's up, Rob? Good to see my man Marlon, so and so. How y'all been? Like, it's nothing really to it. So, and I'm, you know, I think like my personality kind of goes, you know, flows with what we do in the music. So it was, like I said, I guess maybe around that time was when I kind of realized I not only enjoy it, but I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it too.
That's dope.
That's
Yeah,
powerful, brother.
that's a great story, man. So yeah, because you absolutely right. I look at, you know, I'm an advocate because I can't do that, but I love and appreciate
You
it.
love and appreciate it so
You know what I
much,
mean?
right?
But I can't make music, you know, I can't paint, you know, but, you know, make a long story short,
I understand exactly.
that's a perfect
It's
way
an
to put it.
appreciation
You know
for
what I mean? Like, if everyone can do it, they will be doing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
You
fine.
know, and you gotta recognize that. You gotta recognize it. I think, you know, the other thing that, you know, in addition to what Rob was saying that I admire about, I gotta admit, I didn't see it either. You know, he was like a funny guy, you know, and like
Well,
had fun.
Right.
But
Party.
yeah. But you know, I think, you know, I admire your staying power and your consistency because
Absolutely.
I'm sure
Yeah,
you had some, you know, peaks and valleys in that journey. And you know, a lot of people, not only do they not recognize, you know, why they're there and then everyone else can't do what they're doing, they also, you know, let themselves be hindered by self-doubt, you know, fear, and they end up quitting.
Man.
What I've learned is, at least in my life, it's like a 5-year window that I'm tested. You know, like Rob and I, we started our entrepreneurial journey together at 18 and 19. And we've never quit. We've always pivoted and transitioned and done other things.
Right.
But the business is my art.
Right.
So I can't do that, but I love business. I love entrepreneurship. But I've learned that, like, whether it be my video production company in Atlanta, whether it be real estate, whether it be my art advocacy business, it was 5 years where I was really tested, right? And with my video production company, I quit in year 5. But I gave it up. We dissolved our business. We were doing some great things in Atlanta, but it was just so difficult, right? But we dissolved our business a year before YouTube launched, right? And so me and my partner, we talk to this day, my former partner, we're like, man, if we could have just stuck in it, because we had so much, like Rob mentioned in the previously, I was doing documentaries, I was doing all kinds of fly stuff that I could have put on YouTube, build an audience and all different things, but we dissolved the company a year before YouTube. Wow. So, and then in real estate, the same thing. It was like year 5, the market crashed.
Right.
But look what happened 2 so years after.
Right.
And what's happening now? The market is like super crazy high. Like the appraisers.
That's true, man.
Appraisers are like, you know, they can't manage all the work they get right now.
Right.
So what I've learned is that staying power. And like you said, I mean, you 20 plus years in the game, and you know, Nikki said it also previously. Like, if you love something, you have a relationship with this thing.
Right.
Sometimes you're gonna have good days, sometimes you're gonna have bad things,
Right.
but it's a lifestyle that we, you know, this, and I'm saying this to, you know, as a lesson also to the creatives out there.
Yeah.
You know, don't give up. You know, it's your art business or your music, you know, your music, whatever you're doing, it has to be a lifestyle that you don't give up on.
Absolutely.
Because that breakthrough is right around the corner.
Which leads me to another question I want to ask you. With that said, right, the staying power, right, what it took to make it this long. Because like we said, there's a lot of go-go bands. There's a lot of people who have a passion for this thing and they start bands or they run into problems. I actually, good friend of mine, Mac Tyson, played for Optimistic Tribe, played for Listen, played for Black Alley, right? Good friend of mine. He asked me to help him manage a band. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, right? So with that staying power, I want to talk about that. What it took for you guys to make it this far, right? How many times did you recreate yourself in this transition, right? also with the evolution of go-go, how it was in DC, it started moving to Maryland, they started shutting it down. Now they doing shows in Virginia, deep in Virginia, all over the place.
Right.
So can you talk about your evolution, your creativity in recreating yourself and the band or whatever you had to do to sustain to this point?
Well, I think that is key in everything that we do.
Right.
Is recreation of it. I think one of the biggest things that I did was I took notes from the Godfather of it, Chuck.
Right.
And from, further on down, Chuck was always able to maybe have our parents at a go-go down to us at a go-go.
Right.
Like, how was he able to do that?
Right.
Well, he stayed relevant with the content. Honestly, just like one thing about go-go music, I do want to say, a lot of times they get mixed up as far as copycat music or and you got to realize that is basically just a handshake. When we play a cover tune, we have original music as well.
Right.
We play a cover tune because that may be something that you already know.
Right.
It's like kind of like beat somebody like, hey, how you doing? You know my man Chris? Hey, good.
Yeah.
It's mutual.
Right.
But after a certain point in time, you got to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the part of the wave that have kept bands being able to recreate. Sometimes, we do cover tunes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's always good to have our original material so people will know what go-go is.
Right.
But me personally, I think another way of recreating ourselves was just kind of changing with the times. I mean, I think a lot of times it's your parents. A lot of time it's your aim, your target.
Okay.
You may come out as a younger group, maybe targeting a certain audience or a certain crowd.
Right.
And as you get older, your crowd may grow with you. You have to change that mold a little. If you hear the term grown and sexy a lot in bands.
Yeah.
That's kind of mean like what that means. Like we probably over 30.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but it's just the way that you have to move with the genre. And a lot of times, fortunately, me and my group, we've been able to do that, to just kind of keep up on what's happening, stay in the loop of things throughout the years. Like I said, with the pandemic was a really big thing. I heard you guys touching earlier on streaming and stuff like that.
Right.
Because the pandemic, honestly, for a lot of people, I know it slowed everything down, but and even for go-go, definitely for live shows, definitely slowed everything down.
Of course.
But for getting music out, content out-wise, I think streaming became really big. It allowed a lot of bands to, like you said, get personal ownership of their people that they want to focus on.
Right.
And that was a great point you brought out too with Facebook and Instagram and how they are that medium. If that falls down today, you lost 120,000 followers. You lost this amount of followers.
Right.
And that's so important to generate your own base.
Right.
That goes back to, it's funny because, like you said, no matter what we do, whatever type of genre it is, whether it's art, music, whatever, it all goes back to sales. That's it. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? My dad used to always tell me, used to be like, well, look, man, if you, it's good to have a job and stuff, but if everybody has a job, you need to have something to sell.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, it just comes down straight up.
And when you
Real
said
talk.
if you can't control your database, then you can't, So for me, that was a really good point you made. It made me, I thought about it, I said, when I get home tonight, I call a couple buddies of mine, get our email base back up and just make sure we have everybody still on track. Because you got to think about it, you got a band of like, say, 10 individuals. If 10 individuals all have 100 emails, that's 1,000 emails.
That's 1,000
You know what I mean? So one thing like I said, that was a bigger thing too that we've been able to do is with the band members being able to reach out, get people to come to the shows, dealing with great promoters,
Right.
that does, that do phenomenal events, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So shout out to Z Promotions too, my man.
Yeah.
You
Shout
know
out
what
Z.
I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely, just get a lot of things done. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you want to
Yeah.
keep your network strong and keep things like that.
Man, that's
That's
powerful, man.
I got a question. So back when we was doing go-go,
Yeah.
this was a while ago. I don't even know the year, but we was in the streets, you know what I mean? And it was like, that was just a part of, not only was it, I'm a producer now, but back then it was more so like, rap wasn't as hip and as popular as it is now in the city,
Oh,
you know what I'm
man.
saying? It was like, go-go was like
That's
the,
crazy.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we was in the streets too, but
Yeah.
it's almost like the streets and go-go went along with each other, you know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
hand in hand.
Right.
And
It's
that's
crazy.
kind of like where they started shutting down certain
Yeah.
situations. But for you to come from that and then still go all the way through and still be doing it. Like I know, one of the things is there's a lot of street dudes that's real musicians too.
It's crazy.
It'd be fascinating.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
Well, you like I said again, and then with go-go is different because it is. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick story, and I'm
Yeah, you do your thing.
Just a real quick story.
Cool.
I went and I'm working on this. We got to talk about this too. It's a documentary I'm working on too.
Okay.
I went to New Orleans, right? And I want to tell the story, but I don't because I want everybody to know what I'm doing. But I'm gonna tell it. So like, I went to New Orleans and I was down and I saw these kids beating on the buckets, right? I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like, you know, of course it made me think about home. You know, so I go around the corner, I see some more kids beating on the buckets. I'm like, oh, this is what they doing down here, right? So I went up to one of the kids and I showed them a video clip of Junkyard. Beating on the
When
buckets.
they first started.
When they first, the kids said, "Hey, man, that's crazy. That sounds good. They got a little group." Well, why they look so funny? I said, "Because that's 35 years ago."
Right.
Like, you know. And then I showed them a clip of them now, right? And it just made me realize, like, hold up, like, when you have certain percussion mixes, certain this music is a real genre.
Yes, sir.
And I was sitting there looking at like, oh man, if you just do this, you'll be in a pocket beat. If you just do that, I'm thinking like I have a name for these things, a pocket beat.
Right.
This is a real genre.
It's a real genre of music.
You know, like now they're about to put this into the Grammys category.
Yeah, I heard
You know
about
what I'm
that.
saying?
Wow.
So
That's big.
you got CeeLo doing things with Rare Essence, you got Snoop doing things with Rare Essence. So this is about to be a real progression base. So you'll be surprised, man, how many guys that are your neighborhood guys that just live around your way, that might be the hardest dude on the block, that can conduct the band, that knows about pocket beats, socket beats, that knows, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy on the
composition,
board, crazy
everything.
on the
Right,
bass.
can put a song together, put a groove together in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
You know,
that
that's
was the most fascinating
And a lot of
thing.
that is the nature of what we have here. And I found that so interesting with New Orleans. I went down there and I was like, man, you know what? They got a lot of. They're like us. They got their own. They got their little bounce thing.
Right.
They got, you know, we have go-go. So
Right.
that's what I'm working on now, man. I'm doing something called go-go in the NO. I'm gonna go down there and I'm doing a project with the band, and we're gonna infuse some of this New Orleans stuff and do a shot of
Go in
Street.
the end up.
That's
Yeah, this is something different, man. Because the thing I'm realizing now is just like the TV, like you guys are doing right here.
Yeah.
You know, we have to get it out there.
We have to get the
You
message
have to get out there.
Word.
They want, like you were talking about, don't leave DC. That was a really big thing that went viral. But look, like say what now it's been about maybe a year. You don't hear about that much.
Yeah.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You don't hear about them, but it's still like you said. Bands can play them, but they're still going on
Within the
Still-
community,
the
right?
community
People
still
know,
feeling
right.
it. Still feeling it. You know what I mean? But we got to keep that message out. We got to go out to LA and say, hey y'all, don't mute DC. That's why we out here.
Right.
You know, we got to go out to New Orleans. We got to go down to Florida. And
Right.
So that's the wave. We're trying to push things. up
Amplify
there.
the voice.
Amplify the voice.
So real quick, right? So people that don't know, certain people associate go-go with violence. You already know that. But it's like because of the, you know, some of the neighborhoods when they was doing their go-go, you know, you shouting out your hood and it would just cause fights, people died.
Well-
What type of music does the Dynasty Band represent and put out?
We play go-go.
I mean,
And I'm gonna say that to say this because that's a narrative that is easy to project.
Right.
Right.
And let's just think about it like this. Okay, so we're in DC, right? Okay. Now, if we were in New York, anywhere else, and it's not a go-go, maybe a rap show.
Right.
Maybe, but it's not the go-go that causes it. So if this is the most popular thing in your city, and I had a problem with the guy over here, and you had and we both meet up here, I can't help that something may happen at that.
facts.
But it wasn't the band. It's not like the band said, hey man, fight.
Right.
It's not, but that's the vibe they'll make it seem.
Yeah, that's
like
exactly.
they hyped it up because of this music. This is what
This is what's causing it.
It's not, and honestly speaking, it's probably more times that you've been at a go-go and some guys may have had a beef or whatever, and it didn't go bad because the music was so crazy. Because everybody was like, man, chill for me. Man.
Yeah,
Lay
yeah.
back.
That's
You know
a
what I
good
mean?
point.
Shout out
That's
to
a
Big
good
G
point.
for keeping the peace. I mean, that's
Big G.
that's a big stereotype
Yeah.
that they've put on the music to close spots, to do other things for whatever.
validate.
Yeah, that's what the
And
people need to know.
reason
To validate,
was-
no.
my bad. The main reason why they were trying to close a lot of those spots wasn't because of violence, it was because of money. You know, you got to think about this. You got to think about the transfer of money in there.
Yeah, because
it
go-go
is
probably bringing in some of the hottest nights they're having.
the hottest
Go-go
nights
bringing
they
the
have.
most money.
Yeah, for
And-
sure.
And you know, another thing I really realized with go-go in this community is another thing, and I hate to not to stereotype it in that direction, but it's a real big chain of black dollars in the community.
Yes, sir.
You think about it. You think about you know, people coming from their job, spending going back into the community of the artists who are doing the go-go.
Yeah.
And if that continues to spin and gets too big, that's a lot that they really can't touch too much.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? If I come to you and you say, man, we're gonna do a show for you for this amount of money, and you get your friends to come and your friends pay you money, how can they touch that?
They can't.
They can't. They don't like that.
Mm.
So instead of the violence, those were the things that were creating stops between functions to keep going.
I never thought.
And you can get hit 150 at the door at a go-go.
But you know what else? I think the narrative that's not shared, like you said, it's a big stereotype, but we also have to remember, like you said, go-go was the hottest form of music in DC, right? Has been for a while.
Right.
But also, when all of that violence was happening in the 80s and 90s, was the height of the dope game, gang violence, crack.
Mm-hmm.
So the city was violent.
The city was.
You know what I mean? So like, that's a great point you made. It's the band isn't necessarily, well, they're not inciting the violence,
Right.
but it was a violent era.
It was a violent
Like
era.
we grew up in one of the most violent eras, probably.
I think the most violent.
What area y'all grew up in?
88.
Oh, you talking about, I
80s,
thought y'all were talking about
90s.
like neighborhood.
Well, you know, being here in the DMV, you can say anything inside of this beltway or just on the outskirts of this beltway, you was liable to catch it back in the day. You know, in the wrong place at the wrong time, because we came into the city for the go-go's.
For the go-go's.
It didn't matter if you was in Virginia,
That's
wherever
true.
you were. You came into the city to be a part of this thing, man, that we love with our hearts, man. And you know, it was tough. It was rough back then.
Definitely was a
But I want to ask you some questions, Marlon. I don't know if you want to jump in.
No, we're good.
So, from where we've come at this point, right? I just saw an interview. It might have been last year sometime. Rick Rubin was sitting down with Pharrell, and one of the topics that he asked Pharrell about was like go-go, and Pharrell was like, "Man, it was a scene."
I saw that.
And Rick Rubin said he really felt.
He said it was a scene.
Yeah, he said it's a scene and it's a thing.
Pharrell loved
Pharrell loved
I
go-go.
can tell through his production.
You can tell us those production.
Yeah.
Right? But one of the things Rick Rubin said, and a lot of people, maybe a lot of youngsters don't know, that Junkyard was actually on Def Jam.
Def Jam, he did
Right?
every word.
But back then, Rick Rubin said he really felt like it was the next thing. And a lot of people don't know, the same time that hip hop was birthed, go-go was birthed at the same time, right?
You know it.
And they don't know if guys like Dougie Fresh came here and performed. They don't know guys like Ice Cube came
On
here to
stage with
perform.
Junkyard.
On Junkyard. They don't know that Tupac came here and performed. They don't know that, right?
They need to know.
But with that being said, right,
That's crazy.
go-go's in a transition. While I think the golden era of go-go was back when we were younger,
Definitely
right?
was.
It's in transition. It's starting to get more traction. Where do you see go-go going from here, or what steps do you think we need to say to get to a level? I don't want to compare us to hip hop.
No, but
to get to that level,
let's
to start
compare
doing,
it to hip-hop. I would like to compare their money.
yeah.
So why not compare us to hip hop? It's
Right.
a genre. If they're gonna give us a spot in the Grammys, then it's a genre.
It's a genre.
And so I'm
Right.
glad you touched on that, Rob, because that's really where all this is going.
Right.
I mean, honestly, at this point, when you think about that, you say Rick Rubin saying that was the next thing. But you know what? Rick Rubin probably couldn't get it.
Right.
He probably couldn't, and that's the thing. A lot of producers, it's hard to get it. Like, so if I say, hey, like when I say Little Baby, get on this go-go track, if his producer can't make one, then what's the benefit for them?
Mm-hmm.
So let's now it's gonna get to what we need here. Shout out to my man Chiefism too, because this is big.
What up?
Go-go loops.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A lot of producers now are gonna need help making true go-go tracks. Don't get me wrong, you can go put some stuff on, and it's gonna, boom, kabak. That's not go-go.
No.
Because it's such a feel.
You gotta have that in
Such
you.
a feel.
You have to, and it's a certain group of guys, but you're gonna have to come in this genre right here in DC and seek out these guys to help you, or or even like yourself, you're a producer. You have history of go-go.
Yeah.
You can go on your MPC right now. And
Yeah,
put a
it's like
pop
the
in.
easiest. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
easy.
But everybody can't do that.
I'm here.
Khaled can't do that.
Yeah, I'm here.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the thing right now. So right now, I think the biggest thing is that's with me, Chiefism. I'm working with other guys. Hopefully, get some working with you.
Yeah, for sure.
We're just trying to make it a genre where we can go ahead and place it where it's easy to convert. Okay, and it's at a point now where I think we both on both sides we found a happy medium where we can feel comfortable about the music that's going out as true go-go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can be adapted to the masses where it won't be like jungle music or
Right.
what they're doing. I can't follow it. And
Right.
so now that's what a lot of music is going on now. A lot of producers and a lot of executives
good.
trying to figure out diffuse because that's the next wave. Rick Rubin was right. It's a certain sound that you're going. And the funny thing is, Rob, it's been here.
Yeah.
These are the Braves.
Man.
Curtis Blow.
Curtis
You know
Blow.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That,
Infused it.
Infused it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's time for that to be forefront and get some of our guys here noted for that.
And didn't Jay-Z get sued from
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
So
I mean, but you got to think about it. See, and that's shout out to them on that interview because I remember them on the radio. I remember Tigger asking him vividly, "Hey man, did you or did you not use Rare Essence?" And he says, "Well, God knows they used like 50 of my joints."
Yeah,
But Jay,
yeah.
no, we didn't.
Oh,
We really
he said
just-
that?
He said that, but he
Okay.
got to understand.
He don't know the culture.
He don't know the culture of us.
Yeah.
When somebody comes to a Rare Essence show and they playing a new Jay-Z joint, guess what? They about to go buy your album.
Yeah.
You know, we help your sales.
For
Right,
sure.
right.
You know what I'm saying? We push. So it's not like we getting paid off of that.
Right.
But you took one song and made millions.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the game. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's the understand our pay homage to us the way we doing it for y'all.
Exactly.
Understand what we're doing here. It's not again that song being played isn't to steal it from you.
Right.
It's to show people that we jive mess with you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like get a handshake.
Yeah.
So that was a good point. They definitely did, man, and that was something I remember that too because I thought that would hinder go-go and hip-hop for a long time because I thought that would be
I don't know. It
You
just
know.
seems like I don't know why they. I feel like it's opening up more, especially by the Grammy
yeah.
situation.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a lane. I mean, it's definitely a lane because there's so many different tempos and genres of go-go.
Right.
It's beautiful to see giants in music and other genres
Yeah.
love and respect go-go.
Yeah.
Like I tell this story a few times. I told Rob a little while back when I saw Prince live
Yep.
down at
Yes.
the time I think it was called the MCI Arena. But
Yep. I think I was there.
he did sardines and pork
Yes, he
and
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
He
I
said you
was
can't
like-
leave without doing no go-go.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, Prince?
Yeah,
That was fly.
And it's been my experience that the musicians that come, they understand what's it because you're a musician. You love
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, they
So
have-
you can't travel to New Orleans and not hear that New Orleans sound. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's stamped, man.
Yeah.
It's stamped like you had guys like Funky Ned play with Maxwell back then.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
A lot of people have taken our musicians and gone on tour. Buggy from Backyards played with Genuine. I mean, a lot of people have.
Yeah.
This is a haven for musicians.
for musicians.
So when it's funny you say it, when the artists do come here, it's not like they're gonna ride through the city for like 2 days and not hear any go on the radio.
Right.
Right.
So when they hear it, they're like, oh, well,
Yeah, what
and
is
then
it?
they want to seek that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we have a unique
Very
art
unique.
here.
Yes, we do.
That you know, just like I said, I'm glad it's being more exposed, and like I said, hopefully within the next couple of years, it'll just be main platform.
Facts.
Indeed. Indeed.
But before we wrap up, Dave, I mean, you've been dropping some gems. I appreciate you being here with us and sharing your story, man, and your insight. But do you have, for any young artist that's trying to break into go-go now, because the climate is different,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And I'm assuming it's more challenging, but do you have any advice for them, like starting out, what approach they should take getting into the business?
Well, actually, you know, honestly, go-go is a field. You know, so if it's somebody who's interested in that, they've probably been somewhat around that sound, around somebody, around the music. Don't get me wrong, even if somebody far away that's been hearing things, you know what I'm saying? They can always, like, we have so many things on YouTube now. Actually, again, shout out to my man Chief, is we have a class that's coming up. We're gonna be teaching go-go.
That's dope.
So it's like I said, because once again we realize now that this is not just a hobby. This is a true genre of music. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
lessons
right.
to be
The
taught.
art form that
on
it
how-
is.
The art form that it is. So, like I said, there's many things coming out there where they'll have opportunities to learn. If they want to go out and seek that on their own, or even just like I said, inbox me, DB Dappa, you know, Instagram. Like I can send you to whoever you need. I mean, that's the whole thing is we want people to want to do it. Like I said, those kids in New Orleans when they saw that. You know, I mean, they were just so astonished. Like, hold up, maybe I should go get some tambourines and and a couple other things. And we could do this. We just be no buckets getting paid. Like we could do this.
Right.
So I was just so taken over by that, man. So that's what we just got to keep doing, inspiring. And like I said, anything that they would want to reach out for. I mean, it's definitely here in the city for them. like I said, through me, you guys get in touch. Like I said, anything that anybody.
Yes, sir.
needs,
Yes, sir.
definitely will. So, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.